What's up, y'all? It's your boy AJ, and this is AJ Reacts 2, and today we have kind of a different type of video. This is going to be my first comparison video. We are going to compare the original Mulan with the 2020 version of Mulan. And I know a lot of folks have different thoughts about this new one, so I'm just gonna kind of talk about the old one, the new one, and kind of compare. And you're gonna get my thoughts on Mulan. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And let's go! So I'm going to start with the original Mulan, and I'm not going to get down into the details. And you guys know, if you guys have probably seen Mulan, you guys know what the premise is. So really, I'm just going to give you my flat out thoughts. So with the original, I love the original Mulan. I cannot praise this film enough. I think it's near perfect. It's probably one of my favorite. It definitely is one of my favorite Disney films. It might be. No, I won't say my favorite, but it is really, really up there, in my list, my Disney list. I checked out the 2020 Mulan, and it's just like, I saw a lot of reviews that are, they're tearing this film to shreds. And, I didn't have the exact same thoughts as they did. So the original Mulan, it came out in the late 90s, so it kind of has a little bit of that 90s feel. It has music in it that is kind of 90s, that Stevie Wonder song towards the end of the film. Don't get me wrong, I love it. It's just a little bit dated. One thing about the original Mulan, it is hilarious. It's very, very funny. There's a lot of comic relief and comical sequences in this film. A lot of them come from the comic relief in this film, Mushu. This tiny little dragon that, is really, really mouthy, and he's very silly, voiced by Eddie Murphy himself. But that's not the only comedy in this film. There's a lot of situational comedy, a lot of physical comedy. It's just very, very lighthearted with a very serious message. Really just kind of being true to who you are. Really not letting anybody tell you who you need to be. Be yourself. That's really the message in this film. Honestly, I feel like this message gets a little bit drowned out by how the comedy is towards the forefront and, the message is on the back burner. I mean, obviously, the plot line, it goes straight forward to the end goal, and it pretty much gets across what it tries to, but they want you to have a good time and feel good throughout the whole film. So I feel like it is kind of drowning out the message. Don't get me wrong, I think it is hilarious. I love it. But when I think about it, really good, I try to think about what really is the message. Like I said, it gets a little drowned out by the comedy and the music. It is a musical, so it kind of gets drowned out by the music as well. My favorite song in this film is Reflection, and it's basically the message of the movie. It's a great song, great rendition in the film. It just kind of is drowned out, like I said. I feel like I'm bashing on this film. I love this movie. I hate to say different things about it, but that's just kind of the truth of the matter. Now, moving on to the 2020 Mulan. It is a film that was released September 4th, I believe, and when I say that this film is visually stunning, it is so visually stunning. It's the costumes, the landscapes, just everything about this film is very visually captivating. Even the fighting choreography, it's action-packed. It is. And the thing is, I think people had a lot of issues with it not being as charming or lighthearted as the original. And I would definitely agree. It is not as lighthearted as the original. It is, there's no music, and there is a lot of subtle comedy, but not anything that's to the forefront, that you don't have your Eddie Murphy in the background just cracking jokes and, making everybody laugh. So this is not a comedy film, unlike the original. People feel like it was bland and it fell flat because of that. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I think the message was in the forefront of this film instead of the comedy and the music, and it did not get drowned out. And I really kind of understood when I watched this film. I feel like I understood the original film better, because when I think about Mulan, the original, I'm kind of getting into the comparison already, but it's all right. So when I think about the original, I think funny. It's hilarious. It's something that I put on, and if I want to laugh, if I want to have a feel-good type of movie, that's what I put on. Mulan. It's funny. It has a good message, but you know, I want to laugh. I want to hear Eddie Murphy cracking jokes. Basically, Eddie Murphy, he carries that movie. A lot of people feel like, maybe not a lot of people, but I've heard this, that Mushu is a little bit misplaced because of how, you know, his persona. And I agree that it is a little weird because it is like ancient China, and then you hear Eddie Murphy like, you know, dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, you know, like that. It's just, it is a little mismatch, but it kind of gets you through the film, and you really enjoy that. You laugh at that. It's something that is funny. So I've talked to many people, and that's one of their favorite lines in the movie.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
But yeah, you don't get that with the new one, and a part of me did miss that because I did grow up with this older Mulan, the original Mulan. I did grow up with that, so it kind of was a little off-putting, but I had to like kind of get that out of my mind that this is not the same thing. This is not, that they have a different goal in mind. They want to respect this Chinese culture. I feel like that was kind of put to the back burner. Like the respect of the Chinese culture was kind of put to the back burner in the original. They wanted to show this culture and how rich it is, and you know, like that. And I think that's one thing that people didn't really care for. I've also heard that folks had issues with the villain in this film. There's 2 villains in the new one. There was only one in the original, and honestly, neither one of them are really memorable, and it's really not even about the villains. Like, either one of the films is not really about the villain. It's about Mulan's self-discovery, her reflection, and just like, that's the point of the films. One of the villains is very, very vital and important in this new one, and I think it's done well. She was used to bring forth the message. The other villain, on the other hand, is not very memorable and not even that, you know, intimidating or anything. So, I mean, I get where people are coming from with that. And the last point I'm going to kind of talk about and touch on that people really didn't care for in the 2020 version is that you didn't really get to know Mulan, her personality. Like Mulan, like, what is it about her that's going to captivate us? What is it about her that we're going to hang on to and cling on to care about this whole film? And I would kind of disagree to a point, though, because I think that there were some things that they could have done with this film that made us care about this character a lot more. But the fact that we have seen this character before in a previous film, even though it was animated, I kind of had that in the back of my mind, like, this is what this character is, and this is who she, you know, needs to be. But I understand that that's not good enough. You have to do that in your film, not, you know, piggybacking off of another film that, you know, this is a remake. So make sure you know, incorporate everything that you need to in this film. And I get that. I understand that argument. The character of Mulan was not as, her characteristics weren't as bold as they should have been, maybe. She doesn't have as much charisma as the original Mulan. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, is the comedy. There was a lot of comedy in the original, and it was just really kind of stripped away in this new one. And I think that affected how her character acted and how the actress portrayed Mulan. So that is the end of my comparison video. Let me know what you guys thought about the original Mulan and the 2020 Mulan. I know what most of you guys think. Just let me know in the comments. Especially if you like this movie. I want to know if anybody really likes or loves this film, I want to find y'all because I know a lot of people that don't care for it. Yeah, so just let me know. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Letterboxd, AJREACTS2, all across the board. Thank you for watching. I will catch you guys next time. You can stream the 1998 version of Mulan on Disney Plus and the 2020 version of Mulan on Disney Plus Premier Access.